one podcast from JYP. He's one of the leading CEOs of a record label in Korea. He said that the fandom culture actually enjoys growing together with the artist. So that it's like a journey together. So when they support an artist, support a K-pop group, they become global, they become recognized by others. I think the fans also feel very much of their own, like it's their own journey.
Welcome, welcome. My name is Julio G, aka The Hooligan. I am super excited to be moderating this panel today. XP presents South Korea Spotlight with some incredibly exciting artists, creatives, and veterans in the Korean music world and Asia at large. This insightful discussion will explore South Korea's music transformation from the iconic K-pop phenomenon to groundbreaking new art forms. Together, these influential speakers will shed light on the future direction of South Korean music and its potential impact on the global stage. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce our guest, Hee Kyung Cho. AKA Koreatown Acid is in the building. Y'all make some noise. Toronto Soul producer, live PA, DJ, show on the famed Lot Radio, which is dear to my heart in Brooklyn. Next on the panel, we have Mr. Sounds Good. Edge, is it Pamut? Pamut. Edge Pamut is a veteran in the game, all the way live. Yeah, vet. Yeah, vet is good. Veteran. He's a vet, well respected from Saigon. Music business professional, DJ promoter. Please give it up for Edge, y'all. And last but not least, Albas. Coming straight from Seoul, who I had the honor, the pleasure of running into him at the airport last night. We both had a long flight. Live indie artist, very talented, up-and-coming musician coming from Seoul. One of the most well-dressed I've seen here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Please make some noise for Albas, y'all. So yeah, this is it. We're doing this. Korea is one of the largest music markets in Asia and the 6th largest digital recorded music market in the world. That's huge. It gave me chills. Numerous stats show South Korea as one of the leading music markets in Asia, right next to China and Japan. The non-domestic music market is well over 50%. So where's this music coming from? Where is it going? Hello. Check. Hello. So where is this music coming from? Where is this music going? Just one thing from this discussion, we just want you guys to take away. We hope that from this panel we can help you, the audience, understand the immense impact South Korea has on global music market, from live performances to DJing, the power of distribution and streaming, as well as crossover collaborations on the global scene, to the utilization of new technologies and emerging trends. So without further ado, I want to get this conversation started, ask you guys some questions, and let you guys run the show. So from what you guys have been seeing, what are some of the new innovative trends coming out of Korea? And do you see that, not do we see that, but how do you see that permeating to the rest of the world? I'll let you kick it off.
I'll say New Jeans. It's like a very big global K-pop group, which is like same as BTS, like the entertainment company. And we were mutually, I had a chance to talk with Albus beforehand, and we found out that we both like New Jeans, and
Yep.
why that girl group's only around just about a year, and they kind of dominated the world right now. They're like the face of, Coca-Cola to McDonald's to Louis Vuitton to all these other, they're like global ambassador and stuff. And it's like the K-pop became like a culture now, and it has like many elements that why people are so obsessed with the K-pop culture. And of course, like the music is very produced in a way it's like perfect.
It's infectious.
Yeah.
You can't, yeah.
It's like we were mentioning, like it's like a fast food. You get so hooked on it, and then you eat it, and then you're like, oh, like I'm kind of over it, and then
And then you crave it.
there's another
And then
K-pop
something new.
that's
And
coming.
it's
New
something
menu.
you crave, yeah.
You get a milkshake, and then you want some fries. You know.
And also another thing about K-pop culture is like the fashion culture, and I think Albus can take over that.
Well, so you talked about innovative trends in Korea, Julio. So, well, I don't think there's one thing that's happening in Korea that is attracting the fans all over the world. I think K-pop itself right now is the global trend. A lot of people are recognizing the genre. They're actually accepting the part of the culture. And I think it's part of the Korean culture that people are becoming more comprehensive of. So they're understanding the Korean way, which is like, I guess if you kind of compare the music scenes with the Western world, when you think about K-pop, you always think of like this perfect sound production. You think about perfect style. Aesthetics are always amazing. And when you look at that's when people first get into K-pop, you know, the perfect visuals and sound production. But what makes the people stay for more, I think, is just the attitude and characteristic, which is more of like when you see K-pop stars online or on the media or during their concerts, they're very polite and sweet. You know, they have this very well-mannered type of feeling that people like, and they always try to communicate with the fans, and this creates like this big fandom culture, which makes the fans more attracted to the K-pop stars and idols.
It's like they feel like they're actually talking directly to
Yeah.
them, with them.
It's the like engagement with the fan, and
Engagement, yeah.
When you break down like why BTS was so successful is because of their fandom and their engagement, and that's like sort of became a culture.
And I heard from some podcasts that one podcast from JYP, he's one of the leading CEOs of a record label in Korea. He said that the fandom culture actually enjoys growing together with the artist. So that it's like a journey together. So when they support an artist, support a K-pop group, they become global, they become recognized by others. I think the fans also feel very much of their own, like it's their own journey. So
And also I could imagine like when the fans are growing and they're evolving into just themselves, it's almost as if the music is speaking to them and in their growth. It's like the artists are speaking and singing directly to them.
Yeah. So I think a lot of the global fans are understanding that culture, and they're actually very drawn to it because it's a different experience. You know, other than just going to concerts and looking at music videos, it's I think more of a chance for them to experience the artist's journey on their way to success, and I think that's what's more of what you call the trend. It's the fandom culture, I guess, and the Korean culture itself.
That's a great point.
Just to give some, just to give some insights. Like it was 15 years ago, more on the business side of things, right? So in Western countries, it will be underground, then street underground, street cred, then above ground pop music, right? For Korea, it was the other way around. It was K-pop 15 years ago. These kids were bred, since they were kids, bred, house trained to be perfect, right? So it was K-pop, and now there's a K-pop scene, and then now there's a brooding underground scene, which is you guys, right? So it was K-pop, and then underground scene.
Yeah.
Before it was Western countries will be like underground scene, street cred, and then above ground pop. And that's what I cannot explain how this is. It's very special.
It's sort of peculiar, yeah.
It's special, peculiar because it started pop and then underground scene, right? So just some insights about this, and also in the business side of things, The business side of things is these big companies, YG Entertainment and all that, they were there, plus the government are there to support the artists. That's also unique when the government supporting the artists and made it a global phenomenon, made it a global, I would say, product. Sorry, it became a global product and it became a phenomenon worldwide. Government supports, corporate supports, and the people supported. It broke language barriers, it broke fashion, music, dancing, health, makeup, you know. So that's what you get when corporate, government, people supports. In other countries, it's not like this. It's not. It's different.
It's definitely like collaborative teamwork, right? Because like you said,
Yeah, definitely.
the K-pop, it has a lot to do with like fashion and the post-production, the choreography, like the companies. Without that, like it's gonna, of course, fans. It's all like
Yeah, of
layers
course,
of
yeah.
sandwiches.
Yeah. So kind of just moving forward a bit in terms of that, who are some of the talents that you see emerging from the region that have almost, not just taken advantage of what we're speaking about, these trends, but also really capitalized, really, hit it out the park and really nailed it? Like, who are some, and doing it authentically as well, of course.
I think we have to mention Jungkook. He just broke a market and was in a top Billboard, top 40 for the 7, 3D, and what's the other song?
He did some collaborations with other pop artists too.
Pop artists.
Like
so-
Usher and Jack Harlow.
Any of you guys have?
So wait, your question was who's the emerging artist in Korea that is?
Yeah,
taking-
like who's some of the talent that's emerging and kind of utilizing these trends and doing them authentically and really
Oh.
growing from these trends, or also maybe even creating their own trends?
Oh, I guess a lot of the K-pop industry has to do with the record labels. So in Korea, HYBE is one of the biggest ones. There's YG, SM, JYP. These companies are all taking advantage, I guess, of the system that they have built.
They're a
And
machine.
Yeah, they're
It's
like
they're an oil machine. a
they already
YG.
have
It's like a beyond record company because they're like talent
It's- yeah.
agent, they're booking agent, they're
It's
Development.
360. It's 360.
And I think the new groups that are coming up right now, as mentioned before, New Jeans is one of the groups that are emerging from HYBE. And I think there's a group called IVE from SM Entertainment. They're also,
Starship Entertainment.
oh really? Okay,
Yeah.
so there's a group called IVE, Le Seraphim, also from HYBE. Some of the boy groups like 17 and Tomorrow by Together. So these are some of the emerging K-pop groups. I think they're called the fourth generation. So after the BTS generation, that's the next generation that's coming up.
Interesting, yeah.
And they're, I think, following the similar path that the past Korean idols did. And maybe they will try something new. Maybe they'll be chosen for different cultures and things like that. So we'll see in the future.
Just to add on to this, and now also I'm curious. There are talented Koreans, in the music industry, but I think it's not just the talent, but also the machine backing them up. If you're backed up by YG or SM, you're sure to hit because they already have the machine to do it. So talent is one thing, but the ones backing them up is very important too.
The incubation behind it. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've touched on it. We keep touching on it, but the importance of collaboration and choosing the right partners to collaborate with. On the local and global scale. I mean, BTS is obviously BTS. I mean, Lil Nas X, Snoop, Meg Thee Stallion, Blackpink and Dua Lipa, even Monsta and Steve Aoki. That was huge in 2019. Jenny and The Weeknd. I mean, this helps diversify their style, their growth, grows their fan base, of course, their brand. But how important is that collaboration, and why do you see that that's been happening so much more in terms of building out this culture?
I think the collaboration decisions are not just made by the artists themselves, but it's a joint decision with the record label and the artist, especially for K-pop artists. Because normally, I kind of want to compare how an artist develops their career in Korea and outside of Korea. So Edge stated that in the Western world, you start underground, you gain a fan base, you become mainstream, right? You collect more fans. But in Korea, it's more like you start out as a trainee, but you're not an artist at that time. You're just a young person with potential. So the way on becoming a K-pop artist is you have to be first very young, and then you have to audition for a spot in one of the big companies in YG, SM, Hybe, and sorts. And once you get chosen, you go through an incubating period of 1 to 3 years, depending on their talent and their schedule. And once they become an artist, they follow the joint decision that the record label made together with the artist. And from then on, I think the record labels might think, hey, maybe we should try to break into this market by collaborating with this artist in this scene because this fits our image and this fits our goals. So they reach out to those artists and maybe they can make a collaborating album or just a feature, depending on what they want to do. And after that, I think most of the decisions after that is just trying to reach other markets through different collaborations and sounds. So that might be very important. But for I'm an indie artist, so I'm not really in that kind of industry. But for me, I don't know. I think I just like contact whoever through Instagram or through social media and just try to work together with them. Try to see what's gonna happen. And if we do a good job, then maybe we might release it. If it doesn't work out, then maybe we can look for another collaborating artist and we can make something onwards.
Yeah, that's and for you as well. I mean, what is your process of collaboration when you do collaborate? And I mean, both you have such eclectic sounds as indie artists, So, and I want to talk more about the indie artist scene and spectrum as well, because I know we've been touching a lot on K-pop. But in terms of collaboration, how do you go about?
The way I go about the collaboration is like genuine connection for me, because of course it would be nice to collaborate with someone who has a lot of fan base and followers. But if I don't feel the genuine connection, I just think it's a little bit meaningless. Maybe K-pop industry is a little bit different because it's a little bit more like business aspect. But for me, like the synergy and the potential to like gain more audience, but also just to have that like new potential sound, right? When you collaborate with someone, because it is a synergy. Yeah, I think that's most important thing for me.
Edge, what about yourself? I mean, from promoting parties to DJing and your strategic partnerships as well, like what is your process in terms of collaboration with the people that you work with?
Well, there's always two aspects. There's the business side and there's the artistic side. Artistic side is whenever, I mean, if I'm being an artist, I would collaborate to the ones that I think that are matching my music. There has to be a match, and there's gotta have good vibes, and that's it. Artistic part. Business part is a whole 360 spectrum. You gotta look at the fan base. You gotta do Excel files with P&Ls. You gotta do the real numbers. Near numbers, real potential, and you calculate that. If that's gonna make money, then you partner with them. If not, then you don't. That's the business aspect. Then comes the artists. So the managers will say, okay, this is potentially gonna make us money. Artists will say, yeah, maybe it's gonna make us money, but I'm not feeling it, so no, right? At the end of the day, it will be the artist will be deciding, saying, yes, I want to collaborate or not, right? You mentioned earlier, but in Korea, the YG management will be the one deciding if to collaborate or not in the K-pop scene. In the scene is different. If you're feeling it, your manager says it's potential, go for it, right? If the manager says potential, you're not feeling it, no go, right? So independence in the artist scene is like this. K-pop scene is the management. It's about Excel files and profit and loss.
It's like what kind of connection you have and how can you reach them out.
Correct, exactly, yeah. the commercial part of it. The indie part is different.
It's more like a natural vibe. You just like, oh hey, like we're just jamming in the studio now and it's cool. Like it's just more natural, I think, for independent artists.
Right. No, that's great. Because what I wanted to ask next is we're talking about goals and objectives with these collaborations, but also now like the aspirations of the artists with K-pop. You know, obviously they're trained for years. You know, it's like big stage opportunity. You know, it's a very curated process, almost like a trainee. I know we spoke about that, and you know, idol groups and auditioning.
Like trainees who are waiting to debut and that doesn't know that they'll break the market.
Right.
Yeah.
There are thousands of idol groups that come out, but only a few come to survive in this industry. So the ones we see right now are the ones that survived that debut stage, and they became popular after that.
And is the for
The Mar-
for the Koreans? What was that?
it's
sorry?
like no, it's like the Marines, like Navy SEALs training.
Like Olympic athletes, yeah, you know, the top one survive.
But you see the quality, though. You know, the quality. Because you know, I've been privy to YG Entertainment. The training, they're being housed.
It does take a lot of discipline.
A lot of discipline, and
Yeah.
when they come out, they're really tight. Even mannerisms, even the way they speak, it's tight. Right.
The Korean speaking Korean. It's important to shine, right? I mean, that's like to get the acknowledgement, the accolades from Koreans in Korea, right? Is a huge aspiration. Also the growth on social media, the international growth. Let's talk more about the aspirations of artists for in the indie world. It's a bit more freedom, if you will, right? Do you want to speak about that a little bit?
So yeah, I think the K-pop scene and indie scene they're completely different. K-pop has a whole industry. They have a system. They have the way of working. So if you want to work in this side, you need to be one of the members. You got to be a K-pop producer, or you got to, be a member of that company, or you got to become an artist or trainee. But for indie scenes, I think it's very free. So it just depends on what you want to do. So for me, for example, I'm just an indie artist. I started out as a band, an indie rock band in Korea, and usually we just go to live venues, we do live shows, we take care of our social media, we try to market ourselves and try to let people hear our music. And most of the other artists do that too. They utilize social media platforms like YouTube, or they also, in Korea there are some like TV programs and also YouTube contents that feature these kind of artists. So those are some of the opportunities that indie artists can go on to and try to make people listen to your music. And yeah, I think that's the whole process of how it works. And collaboration-wise, yeah, for indie artists, we can collaborate with whoever we want to. And even if it doesn't work out, it doesn't really matter because it's just our own time, not the whole industry wasting their system on it. So yeah, I think it's pretty much free. You can do what you want to do.
What are your thoughts?
So what was the question again?
Well, just in terms of just from an indie artist perspective, like some of how your aspirations, are so much freer and different from, the regimented, I would say, K-pop mentality of
I think it's
what's successful,
like
Yeah.
it's like there's pros and cons for everything, and as much as I get the freedom, I don't have that system. So discipline is very important, and I'm my own artist, my own manager, my own finance, my own sound design, my own stylist, like everything. And me having to do everything is quite difficult. And because it's not like a K-pop industry, it's very systematic, and there's like a team of choreography team, makeup team, stylist team that are like a very top notch. Like I don't have that kind of support, but I do enjoy that freedom. Like whatever the inspiration that I have, I can like execute. So it's finding that balance, right? and just experience, right? Like from the experience, like what worked for you, keep it. Doesn't work for you, try it like another way. It's very like try and error for the independent artist.
You know, I have some footnotes about this. I'm one of the founders of music TV channels like MTV, Channel V in different countries, right? And in our programming, we have these Pareto rules: 80-20, 80% pop, mostly K-pop, 20% independent underground music. So I have this metaphor all the time. So the market will say no, 100% pop, and I will always say no. I say 70-30, compromise 80-20, right? And this is my metaphor is this, okay? Berkeley student graduate or a Berkeley dropout, who would you hire? I would say I hire a Berkeley dropout. That's what I always say to my team, So that's why, no, 80-20, we want to see all the independent underground artists. I would vote for it because you're the Berkeley dropouts, not the Berkeley graduates to me. It's a totally different incubation, totally different way of working and promoting yourselves. The Berkeley dropouts had it hard, where the Berkeley students, graduates, they had a system. So which one is better? Which one will survive? In my personal opinion, is the Berkeley dropouts. So always 80-20 for me, not always the commercial industry-wide. So I would respect artists like you guys who are like roughing it out right there, and there's a stage for you guys. It's not just all pop commercial and all that. Right?
Yeah, it's great. I wanted to ask whether they're Korean artists or Asian artists or just any artists in the world. I'm curious to know who are just a couple of your inspirations.
Like inspiration from K-pop artists?
No. Just literally could be. I'm just curious, kind of thinking outside the box now. Just what they could be in Korea, they could be in Asia, or it could be an American artist, it could be a classic artist. I'm just curious to know, like, in your respective styles of music, or even not, you're drawing inspiration from all over the place when you create. If you could just share maybe who a couple inspos are for you guys.
For me, growing up, I listened to a lot of music, and the one that I listened to when I was younger, like when I was a teenager, it was always punk rock. Yeah, so punk rock and yeah, so like I always listened to like bands like Green Day, Sum 41, My Chemical Romance, Fall Out Boys. So those are some of the bands that I listened to. I love the sound, and growing up, I got to experience more different genres. Recently, I've started to listen more to K-pop because K-pop industry is really booming right now, and the sound quality is excellent. So it's just amazing hearing those kind of things. And also,
Just sorry to interrupt. So when you say like sound-wise, is it
yeah.
you want to create? Obviously, you're creating indie music. Singer-songwriter, more indie, and it's obviously not K-pop at all, but in terms of drawing inspiration from the sound quality and how you want to maybe record your music, is that kind of what you're referring to?
I think I'm talking more in terms of K-pop is very much like pop, but it has a very Korean taste to it, and I think K-pop has that Korean taste that appeals to the Korean citizens, and that's the sound that's based in, I don't know, like the Korean listeners have this specific taste that they're looking for. And I'm Korean. I was born and raised in Korea, although I spent 10 years abroad in the United States. I'm still Korean by nature. So I'm really interested in that emotion, I guess, the things that listeners are craving for. Yeah, so it's always familiar to me. So I always try to get a sense of how do I express this familiarity using the newest technology, the newest sounds, or some of the things that K-pop is doing right now is very technology based, right? They're choosing the best sounds. They have a way, they have a system, and although I'm not trying to like get all of those in my inspiration, but I can take some ideas from it. Like, oh, this really works for me. Like,
Yeah,
it kind of feels good to me. So I try to get a lot of
Yeah, like I
inspiration
say, like the post-production of K-pop, the arrangement, the catchy sound, they don't really go over 2-3 minutes, and they have a very specific type of arrangement, and that's something I can take away from my music. Although I'm a like very experimental artist that has a very eclectic sound, and I think I'm still trying to figure out my sound. You know?
The production quality is very good. I mean, they've been doing this for years. You know, as an independent artist, of course you have your own taste, your own vibe, but just if you learn from their production quality, like what you said.
I mean, I think it's challenging to make a catchy music.
Very much so.
Yeah.
What is one's guilty pleasure is like near and dear to someone else, you know? It's amazing. You know? It's like someone's like, yeah, it's like someone's like, oh, this is my guilty pleasure, but someone's like, this is
Definitely K-pop is like my biggest guilty pleasure. Yeah. And it is like what Alba said, it's very cultural. Like
yeah, totally.
I'm so used to that emotion being Korean. And it's like a comfort food, you know? Like K-pop for me is a comfort food.
Yeah.
But also K-pop does come from R&B and hip hop, right? Because I grew up in like the first generation of K-pop, and I was so into hip hop and rap music. And one of my favorite artists are like conscious rappers, like Kendrick Lamar. And there's a rapper named Kim Shimya that we mutually like. Do you know Kim Shimya? Just like, conscious rap, I love like R&B, jazz. I grew up in like Aliyah, TLC, that kind of thing. But I also like did classical music, and I love like Ryuichi Sakamoto, like all the like original soundtrack stuff. So the inspiration is like everywhere, and it is your decision to take away and how you're gonna execute that to your sound. That's just like everyday battle, right?
I'll have to get some recos from you guys. Some music stuff.
Not a lot of people know Ryuichi Sakamoto, and I'm surprised you said that.
Well, I thought like he was like huge inspiration for a lot of artists. Yeah.
Who are some of yours? I want to hear some of yours too.
Inspiration?
Inspos, yeah.
Well, there's a lot. It's not a fair question because there's a lot. But I would say Ryuichi Sakamoto.
Yeah.
Well, it's cinematic, which is what's the name? Cinema Paradiso, the soundtrack. So
Nice.
Brazilian music. I grew up with Brazilian music. I grew up with jazz, so a lot of Brazilian music. There's a lot of jazz, and also I grew up with punk rock, but the first generation, like Sex Pistols, The Clash. So yeah, so it's really a mix of all these different things. You cannot just pinpoint. I like this artist. I like this artist. It's a whole mixture of things.
There's every time I hear about just this original, like first generation of music going out, but there's a book, and I recommend it to everyone in the audience as well. I try to share this book as much as possible, but it's called Love Goes to Buildings on Fire, and it's by Will Herms. And essentially it chronicles the music from like 1973 to 78 of all the music that was happening in New York City at the exact same time. So it's like Bruce Springsteen driving across Jersey to Brooklyn while the Dolls were playing, New York Dolls were playing, and CBGB, while Grandmaster Flash was doing this, while there was this jazz artist doing this had an overdose on the West Side. It's like in the same night, It was just an incredible piece of like history. But I recommend that book. It reminded me of it. Not to go off tangent. No, thanks for sharing that, guys. I guess my next question is on the technology side of things. So have you guys utilized, but also seen the usage of new technology and digital music services, and how have you been using those to your benefit? What kind of strategies have you used it now with the, huge emergence of social media and just like tech as we know it? Obviously TikTok is on everyone's mind as well. But some of the largest digital music services, Melon, of course, YouTube Music, Genie, Flow. But how are you guys utilizing this, or have you seen it being utilized in Korea, but also in the States? And what are some strategies and just things that you've been doing to maximize your reach on these platforms?
I feel like the platform that I use the most are like Spotify and SoundCloud. Maybe I'm just like stuck on that generation. I'm not really like TikTok. But I do like K-pop dance challenges on like Instagram. Just
Watching or performing?
performing.
Okay.
We're not doing one today, but but yeah, like definitely like Instagram. I have the most followers, and I do have like a more engagement when I post something or like I post up on my show or something. So I say like Instagram, Spotify, SoundCloud. SoundCloud for majority mixes, because I do a lot of like that monthly residency at the Lot Radio, so that's all like SoundCloud archive. I want to get more into like the whole YouTube world, but I'm not there yet. But there are so many like platforms or like sources that you can take advantage of as an independent artist, like nowadays, unless you're doing like vinyl printing and stuff, which I actually still prefer to do as like a merch. And like there's so many like technologies you can like utilize to make music, right? Like Ableton, and you can like make music on the phone. And I think you should take all advantages and like just don't limit yourself and just like find that works for you.
For me, actually, I don't really use much of social media. I have no knowledge on how to use it either. I just do the least amount of work on social media that's needed. Just posting that the new music is released, or posting that I have a show. Other than that, yeah, I've tried to like show a little bit of the journey, like the process of making music, of doing shows and things like that. But it didn't really stick with me, because I've never even had an Instagram account before starting music, so it wasn't what I was used to. But I know in my head that if you want to do some kind of artwork and you need to show to people, you need an account. So I'm just doing the bare minimum, I guess. And streaming site-wise, for me, the priority is just releasing my music, and that's it. I'm on to the next project. I don't know any other ways.
But which platform are you releasing that music?
I think everything. Apple Music, Spotify, Melon, which is in Korea, and some other parts too. I also use SoundCloud. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
We could talk some distro strategy after the panel, for sure.
Next door, right? I actually have some insight about this. Going back to what goes on air on radio for us. Normally, my staff will be saying, okay, let's get this guy because he's got X million of followers, blah blah blah. But I always say, no. Social media followers, great. It gives the numbers, good for sponsors, etc., etc. But I want 30% of talent. So 70%, fine. Look at their social media, they have good following, good content, blah, blah, blah. But 30% talent, guys, pick the ones who's got talents. Not just because they have a good following, they're great, they're good. Not at all, not everyone. You may have good social media following, but you cannot perform, and then that's it. There's no longevity in that. Yeah. So that's our formula. 70%, okay, social media followers. 30% talent. You gotta have talent.
Very important. Well, we have reached the end of the panel, but I just want to, very insightful information. Obviously, the impact on the global market is incredible, thanks to the Korean music. The spotlight that we have on them, and you guys are doing an amazing job of also pushing that forward, keeping the indie music, being eclectic. I want you guys, if it's possible, to maybe share your share something, maybe your Instagram or somewhere where people can find you, just so folks could tap in as well, and then we'll have some a closing statement. Do you want to just share maybe just a link where people can find you?
Yeah, my artist name is Koreatown Acid, and I'm on Instagram and SoundCloud, Spotify, and I'll be performing tonight at X6 stage.
What time?
I believe I'm on at 10-ish, right? Yeah. 10:30. Oh, 9:30, sorry.
9:30.
Soon.
Awesome.
So if you guys are around, 9:30 at stage X6.
Okay, so yeah, my name is Albaz. You can search me on Instagram, Albaz Let's Go, and YouTube. Also, I have a channel. SoundCloud. Yeah, I do have a channel. Unfortunately, I won't be performing at this event, but maybe if I have a chance, I'll be uploading some new releases and videos. So, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
I'm Edge, and yeah, don't find me, I'll find you.
I love that. Well, thanks for your time, guys. Appreciate it. This is the Spotlight on South Korea presented by XP. My name is Julio G. Thanks for having us, y'all. Have a good day and enjoy XP. Peace.